Hello, hello. Reality as a Rubik's Cube, meaning it's a puzzle. It's something meant to be solved. Meant to be solved. What do I mean by that? What could I possibly mean by meant to be solved? Do they want us to solve it? The ones that designed this system? No, but I want to solve it. Do you? Do you want to see if the pieces fit and align? Do you want to solve the puzzle? Or are you just here for the ride? Are you just here for pleasure? Are you just in this realm to experience pleasure? With no care for truth? No care for those who are suffering? For those who are enduring in this place and abused by this place, by this realm? New Agers believe that we created all of this. They push that lie that it's our fault, that we created this place in our minds with our consciousness, that we're so powerful that we created this realm of evil, suffering, and deceptions and cruelty, sickness, demons, that it's our fault. They try to blame us just like evil does. New Agers push a lot of things like that. Some of them say we're eternal beings, but we have to ascend and we have to do this and that and we have to stay here. That there's nothing else beyond here. Excuse me, they push these false narratives, these false concepts, that this is all there is. Well, where's their evidence for that? Can you show me some evidence, please, that this is all that there is? It's ridiculous. This is just a small little portion of what exists. Think of it as more like a little snow globe on someone's desk. Is that the whole realm? No. Is that the whole universe? Is that all that there is? Is that all of creation, all of existence, all that there is or ever will be or can be? No, of course not. It's just a little child's toy on top of a desk. It's not everything. I think they're afraid of death. So they'll say death doesn't exist, that we are eternal, that this is all that there is, that there's nowhere else to go. They push all sorts of things like a false source, and everything that they push is about, ultimately it's about slavery and keeping you here in this fucked up place that can't be fixed. This place can't be fixed. So one of the ways to see what's real and true is to see if it matches up with reality. Does what they push match up with reality? Just like with a Rubik's Cube, you want to get all the colors on each side to match up. You have to get it to match. It's similar. So if I say something here in this video or in a live stream, see if it matches up with reality. I want you to do that. I don't want you to just nod your head, say, oh, that sounds good, or I feel that, or yeah, that's probably right. I want you to see if it actually matches up with reality, not just with my channel's content, my videos, my live streams, my videos. I want you to do that with everything that you take in, to see if it's true or not, to do your due diligence, work on your discernment, work on your pattern recognition, work on developing your spiritual eyes and your spiritual, you might say spiritual mind, spiritual senses, spiritual consciousness. And you'll get better at it. the more that you practice, the more that you exercise that part of your spirit. And you'll see what I mean. So when I say you'll see what I mean in a very literal way. You will see what I mean. You will see it with your spirit. You can have your human eyeballs closed, your eyelids closed. And close your eyes. You'll still see it. Because it matches with what you can see to be true. And you'll know it's true because it matches up. You'll know and you'll say, you know what? This guy isn't doing it for money. He doesn't have anything to do with money on his channel. All these other channels do. Why is that? Why is he different? Why does what he's saying match up every time I look at what he's saying on his channel? And then I look at the realm, I look at reality, I look at how things work. When Stephen says something about the suffering and cruelty in the design, when he talks about earthquakes, hurricanes, great floods, tornadoes, tsunamis, firestorms, blizzards, on and on, it all matches up with what you can observe and experience and see other people devastated. What about when Stephen talks about illnesses, 10,000 documented diseases, everything from colds to flus to genetic disorders to deformities, disabilities in children, adults, blindness, for example, affecting countless millions, hundreds of millions. You can see blind people out there. You can see deaf people. You can see people in wheelchairs, from children to adults. You can go places and see people with leukemia suffering and dying. In other words, it matches up. What I'm saying matches up with reality, just like a Rubik's Cube, getting everything to match up side by side, each side of the cube, getting the colors to match. It's very similar. You want to see if it matches up. If it doesn't match up, call me out on it, call them out on it on other channels, which I don't see happening. I do that, but I call them out and expose them, but I hardly see anyone else on YouTube out of this entire realm calling them out. These, quote, truther channels, shit channels as I call them. Most of them are pushing nonsense and new age shit. And they blame us. I didn't design this realm. I never would have designed something this cruel, this sadistic, this sickening, this full of evil and suffering, brutality, life eating life, so-called acts of God or natural disasters. Whatever way you want to put it, you want to blame God or nature. What made nature? What designed it? Why is it so brutal? See, what I say matches up with observable reality. It's observably true. I'm trying to help you solve the puzzle. You can reject my help. That's what most in this realm do. They reject anything that is true and anyone that is true. They prefer lies, frauds, phonies, deceivers, feel-good New Age preachers that say it's all going to be okay. Just clear your mind, meditate, get rid of all your thoughts, live in the present moment, that they're for life and that they control reality, and they don't. They run away when there's a firestorm. They show you something. What they say doesn't match up with reality. They expose themselves as frauds, liars, phonies, shills, scammers, gatekeepers, grifters, out for money, out for fame, out for power, clout, whatever. They show who they are. They show you who they are if you pay attention. They show you what they are, who they are, how wrong they are. You won't live here forever. A lot of them are pushing that now, that eternity's here and now in this realm, that there's nowhere else to go. And they're saying that they reject the so-called soul trap. Well, I think this is a trick for spirits. I think soul is wrong, and I don't think I'm trapped here at all forever. I don't think it's pure hell and everything here is hell. They try to misrepresent what others like me say. They warp things, they twist things, they're dishonest. And if you pay attention, it's obvious to how dishonest they are. But you have to focus and pay attention. You can't just let them lull you to sleep. A lot of people don't pay attention. It's like they're listening to the radio or something when they're listening to We Are Awake TV channel or other channels. It's not the only one. It's just one example. Now a lot of them are pushing AI. They're making videos using AI. Not just images like this. Obviously, I've said many times, Magic Studio is just quick AI images or fake AI. But they're using what Sedaris uses with a talking avatar, and they're talking to chat GTP type systems that bring up all kinds of false shit. What's the difference between their channels and the mainstream? What's the difference between what they say and what total New Agers say? What's the difference? Seriously, what is the difference? You notice they don't talk about the suffering of others when they just say they just want to block out their thoughts because they had negative thoughts. Well, big deal. That's nothing compared to what millions and millions of children are suffering. So if they can make one little step, getting rid of negative thoughts or disruptive, unwanted thoughts, great. You're still in a hell realm. There's massive, massive suffering all around them that they don't notice. They don't care. Their lack of care and lack of empathy is very telling. They never speak about the suffering, the widespread, massive suffering built into the design of this realm. It's baked in. It's like baking eggs into a cake and other ingredients. Once it's all mixed together in a mixing bowl and baked and the cake comes out and it sets and it cools, you can't get those eggs out again because they're baked into the cake. They're strewn throughout it. So it's similar to what's baked into this realm, the design. You can't take the suffering out. It's baked in. Just like earthquakes, tornadoes, diseases, aging, bodies falling apart. You age and you get bad knees and you get back pain and you get this and that. That's part of the design. So some of them, they want to live here forever. They're anchoring themselves. They're even using the words now, anchoring themselves to nature in this realm. They don't even know what nature is. They think nature's out of the matrix. They think they're trying to say that the city's the matrix with power lines and computers and shit, and that once you're out in the woods or you're on the beach, you're out of the matrix. I'm shaking my head as I'm saying this because it's so false. This whole realm is in the matrix, and this is just one level where you are right now. This isn't all of it. The astral realm's in the matrix too. There might be 100 other levels. There might be 1,000. I'm showing you terrariums and ships in a bottle. Closed ecosystems, sealed off. Plants can grow that way. Under glass, sealed in. The water gets recycled. Everything gets recycled. Everything in this matrix gets recycled where you are currently, including rain, all types of water, blood, sweat, bodies, meat, flesh, plants, waste, shit, piss. They call it fertilizer, manure. It doesn't matter what you call it. It all gets recycled into the ground, into the food, into the water, drinking water and rainwater, wherever, water up in the sky and water under the ground, in the lakes, coming out of your tap, wherever. Everything, gets recycled here. All of it. All of it gets recycled. Everything here does. You're in a recycling system. It's another thing they don't want to face and talk about. There's a lot of things that are observably true. they don't want to face and talk about. They want to feel good, and they don't want to face evil. They don't want to face what this place is. It's out of cowardice, fear, laziness. They talk about being powerful, and they sound and look weak. Nothing that they say in their message matches up with reality, even with their body language and the ways that they live, the ways that they speak, the ways they ignore, the ways that they try to bash people who are speaking the truth. They talk about having control, but they run in fear from fire. That's reality. That's observable. They fled from the Malibu fires, for example. They're not in control here. And they don't want to admit that. They're not honest enough or strong enough to admit that. And then they'll say that people like me are woe is me, and oh, this is a hell realm, we can't do anything about it, and blah, blah. That's not my message at all. My message is one of spiritual empowerment and doing work here before you leave. They spin it to, oh, you just wait to die and do all the work when you get out and run away in fear, and that it's a pity party, and they spin it, they warp it. That's what dishonest demons like Ian do. Ian and Lindis and others, many, many others. They take someone's message like me and they try to warp it and spin it. You have work to do spiritually if you can't detect truth, and if you can't detect lies or truth from lies. Then you have work to do here. Here. While you're here in a body, you have spiritual work to do on yourself and on developing the discernment and the spiritual eyes to see and hear, so that you can hear something and right away start thinking, well, that doesn't sound right. That doesn't sound true. Or that being or that channel seems like a demon. They seem like a deceiver. You have work to do. It's a good thing if you're able to learn how to detect these things. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing to make yourself stronger. To make yourself stronger and wiser and better and more prepared and armored against liars, deceivers, demons, evil. Nothing wrong with it. It's the right thing to do. And they lie about where you are. Study where you are. A lot of people don't want to put in that work and study this realm. I've put in a lot of work, a lot of years to be able to make videos at this level and explain this realm reality. The cruelty of the design, the sickness of the design, how demonic this hell realm really is. It's not the only hell. It's another thing I see people doing lately is saying, in hell, in hell, in hell. I always say it's a hell realm, except the only time I do that is for brevity's sake when I say it's the greatest show in hell with my live streams. But I don't think this is the only hell level or hell realm or matrix that exists. I don't assume that. That would be unwise. I hope people understand. I hope people pay attention. I've spoken about it many, many times. I don't assume this is the only matrix. It could be, but I don't assume that it is. Do you see how that works? If I assumed it's the only one, it would be easier to fall into another one. If I'm prepared that there might be many places like this, maybe not as bad, potentially maybe worse, I don't know. And neither do you. It's another thing some of you need to get beyond your ego. Believing that you see a couple things that you know and you just repeat it and say, I know this, I know that. About things that you don't know. It's good to keep an open mind, but to claim that you know certain things when you really don't, it isn't honest. It sounds more like Ian and Linda's at that point. They make constant claims to know about what this realm is. And they might change their mind in a month or 6 months or a year, just like they have already. And they'll just lead their audience, and their sheep audience will follow along like a flock of sheep, with Ian and Linda as their shepherds. Can you imagine? I can't imagine being led by those two, but there are hundreds over there that are. Maybe thousands, I don't know. You can say, that's sad, Stephen, that they're leading people back to another spin in the recycling bin. Well, that's been going on for many years. It's part of why I started my channel. I got tired of people deceived that might be good spirits, misled by channels, not just Ian. There's countless channels on YouTube misleading people. So if you're sad just thinking of that today, that's been on my mind for many years before I even set up this channel. And I've been running this channel now for 2.5 years or so. And it was many, many years before this that I was sick of seeing people misled, duped, paying liars, frauds, grifters, getting completely deceived. It was one of the reasons why I set up a channel, was to expose them. And also, of course, to share real truth. But there isn't a big audience for real truth in this realm. Most people don't want to hear real truth or see it. They prefer the lies. That somehow comforts them. It's like a security blanket they wrap themselves in, and they say, oh, it feels good. It feels good. We're going to live here forever. Who the fuck would want to live here forever once you observe the massive suffering going on of others? Others, including the most innocent, babies, young children, and the elderly at the very end of their lives, quite often when they're in an extremely vulnerable state, a very childlike or almost like a newborn baby state, and they need constant care, and they rely on others. They're vulnerable, and they get abused quite often. Some of these places where they warehouse them. It's very sad, and it is happening. A lot of people in this realm won't face what's happening. They call themselves truthers, and they have blindfolds on, and they don't care about others. They have no care for truth. They have no care for others. They have no care for the suffering of others. They're pieces of shit. Most, quote, truthers are liars and demons. And I don't trust them at all. And I'm not part of their group. Take care.